Our story begins in a familiar setting, i.e. the gaming room, where Akira was dominating till he was hit with the painful "you have been disconnected" line. Back to reality, we get the sense that our boy doesn't have anything to care for or look to. From the way he is living, as not only his room, but also his whole house looks like a dumpster. That said, the high school student do be looking fresh AF, rocking his signature coat. Yet the girls in his class think he is a weirdo because Akira is always on his phone, and despite it, he is a straight A student. The lad enjoys playing games, and as someone who's always on electronics, I agree with his reasoning. Daily activities are quite boring. However, one day, while on the way to school, he's suddenly attacked by a mysterious man who looks like a character straight from a horror movie. Therefore, your boy does what they do in these kinds of movies and runs for the hills till he reaches an abandoned building, where he manages to set a couple of traps. Sadly, the monster proved to be too tough to be squashed under Akira's trap, but the mad lad was ready for him and put a spear to his heart, gladiator style. Although he won fair and square, Akira later is mercilessly killed by the magician-style woman Mion, who appears immediately afterward. Before going unconscious, the gamer declared that this wasn't a game over and vowed to win, with his last wish being, "I want to find a new game to help me escape this boring reality." When he wakes up, Akira is gathered in a mysterious facility along with other unfortunate souls. The poor bastards are told by Mion that they are now considered dead by the government, and as such their rights are no more. They will participate in a program as an experimental monitor of ability and will be involved in a harsh ability battle. A random thug walks up to shut her down, to which Mion uses him to set an example and show that she wasn't spitting some crazy nonsense. The cat girl then explains that the cuffs around their hands are used to suppress the abilities each character has been given, and once the red light turns to green, the cuffs go off and they are free to use their abilities as they please. She then asks if there is anyone who has questions. During this interaction, we get a hint of who the main characters are. From our boy to the blonde chick standing next to him, they have been thrown into this new world by the power of chance, and they will have to adapt to their new surroundings and new abilities to survive. Soon after the briefing ends, Akira heads to his room under the eyes of the cat girl, watching him and others from security cams. While Akira seems shocked and baffled about how he will be using his new ability, his next room neighbor has already started trying the power out, knocking Akira back on his feet and back to his grave reality that others might not hesitate to kill. As such, Akira decides in his own words, "I will play this game completely." The first phase is a one-on-one battle, and Akira gets to face Kurosaki, the delinquent. The latter asks our boy to surrender as soon as the battle starts to save time and lives, but Akira refuses as he wants to see things through by his own will. As soon as the count hits 0, the cuffs come off and Kurosaki turns the stick into a sword. Akira dodges the first couple of swings and uses his surroundings to not get caught. After the main man runs away to another room, he traps the delinquents with other tricks, waiting for the best moment to activate his ability, which the bad boy thinks is a pretty useless one, otherwise he wouldn't have run away. Akira begs to differ, stating it's a pretty dangerous one and that he saw it before, but Kiri boy doesn't believe and so charges head-on. Akira raises his hand and hints that his ability is the same as the cat girl's, i.e. the cannon. Once the thought enters the delinquent head, Akira's hand turns into a cannon and he puts his opponent down, forcing him to surrender. On the other end, Mion explains that Akira didn't use his ability right away since it isn't acutely a cannon, but a far more complex one called Deceive. To activate said ability, Akira must convince his opponent he has whatever ability he wants to use. Moving on, we meet the next main character, Yuri, an unhappy high school girl who hates the word accidental. It was pretty apparent after her interaction with a dogo. She dislikes that word as nothing tends to go her way. Also, to make matters worse, she was developing trust issues after that one time she helped a guy who was being ignored by everyone. To her luck, the guy turned out to be a mega simp, refusing to leave Yuri and following her around like a fly. Her home is the only place away from him, and yet she doesn't feel comfortable since her mother keeps bringing men over. Yep, you heard that right, that woman belongs to the streets. Sadly, the one who ended up there was Yuri. You see, one fateful day, the main girl spotted the freak she helped standing at the edge of a building ready to isekai himself. Being the good girl she is, Yuri rushes to talk him down. However, the bastard refuses to get off and then takes her hand and jumps to exist the way Romeo and Juliet did together. That said, as we can see, she is still alive and kicking. Kicking the wall to be precise, trying to get out with her new ability to see a little girl she was taking care of. The girl was the daughter of the last man her mother brought, and Yuri was stuck to look after her. During the little one's stay, Yuri became close to her and developed a connection with her, especially after she saw the abuse the little girl's old man did, making big sis Yuri relate to how her mother treated her. Back to the present time, the Blondie's first program is a 1v1 duel. Yet unlike Akira's cool opponent, Yuri's opponent was a big middle-aged man, who was given a power that allowed him to smell the feeling of a person. A fitting power to such creep. Confused by the unexpected behavior of her opponent, he took off his boxers. Yuri is forced to fight the ugly bastard while he is butt naked. Through a flashback, we saw how he became this monster and how unapologetic he became after lots of crimes against unfortunate ladies just like Yuri, calling it luck that his first opponent happens to be his kind of girl. Upon hearing the L word, Yuri snaps and overpowers the big bastard, breaks his arm, and knocks him to the Shadow Realm. She says, "Kiss my ass. I won't be defined by chance. I will take control of my destiny." She then vows to clear the game to return to the girl she lived with. Later, the second program is a 5v5 team competition, so here we are with Yuri, Kurosaki, Akira, and 2 other lads hanging in the same room. Peacefully mine, I say. Hence, the old man of the group breaks the ice and introduces himself to the party. Not to spoil anything, but the dude's name is irrelevant, so I didn't memorize it. He can change stuff into rope, so we will be calling him Rope Seller. Yuri and Kurosaki introduce themselves and what they can do, i.e. the ability to quadruple her power and the ability to turn sticks into blades. After that, the new big guy gives his name Shin. He can become invincible for 2 seconds. But he refuses to use the given ability since it goes against his code as a pro wrestler. Finally, our boy introduces himself to the group and decides to keep his actual power a secret, disguising his abilities as the ability to make a hand cannon. When the Rope Man asks for others to show their powers, Akira deflects the question immediately by asking Kurosaki how his injuries feel, which certifies his position.